Hey guys, welcome to my live stream. Welcome to my cactus live stream. Cactus care, sowing out. I have everything from little seedlings to bigger seedlings here. Also vegetables. I brought the chili again that I wanted to show you because I wanted to show you how they look after repotting them. So these are actual chilies, different types, and we will be growing them on the stream. But I will discuss it later. Just want to say welcome to my stream. Great to have you guys. And today we will discuss a lot of stuff again. Hey, good morning. Just turning off the automatic translator again in the comments. Yeah, I'm back, and I slept wrong tonight. You know that, like the many memes that they make about when you wake up in the morning and you slept the wrong way and you can hardly walk anymore. That's how it is today. I kind of, at some point, I don't know what happened, but we will see how well it holds, how well I can sit here, because I haven't experienced something like that in a while. Not sure what happened, if it slipped out, if the disc slipped out, something like that. But yeah, I'm doing my best, being a trooper and working my way through the seedlings. Just know that if I every now and then scream, that might have to do with the bag. So yeah, great to have you here again, guys. Welcome to the live stream. By the way, I wanted to show you something. My mom has donated a nice new water sprayer for the channel. Check this out. Yeah, I urgently needed one again, because sometimes when I'm doing my video here, then I want to spray a little. It just makes a big difference if you are able to spray something. Let me see how it sprays. Okay, a little bit less. Look at it. We can spray again. I'm very happy, because this is exactly the kind of situation where you need the sprayer. When you have seedlings that are this tiny, they just can't really take a lot of pressure off the water. So yeah, I'm glad that we have a water sprayer again. A little bit, like a little one. I have a bigger one, but it's always difficult to bring it here to the live stream. So yeah, let's get started with the seedlings. I also brought new soil so we can repot later. I want to repot the third chili here. This one. This one's still in a smaller pot, and I at least wanted to give it one size up. I would love to do more, but I just don't have so many bigger pots right now. They are used for the cacti. So I'm slowly going up with the pot size with the chili, but I want to repot that one today. Okay, so let's get started discussing the seedlings. And again, if I scream, it's because of I slept wrong. Yeah, not much progress here. These have been repotted into the sowing soil, and for now, there's not much that we can do here. We can't take them out because they are too small. There's some variegation there. You would instantly lose the seedling if you would take it out of the bag. So this needs to stay in the bag a little bit longer. Just want to spray them a little bit carefully with the new water sprayer. And I'm really trying to get a good setting here. This is better. I really don't want to have that extensive pressure of the water hitting the cactus seedlings. So yeah, I'm just positioning the little seedlings here, just giving them a little solid connection to the soil, and I try not to scream while I do it. I'm not sure what's wrong, but this isn't normal. I apparently really have reached the age when you can really mess yourself up just by sleeping the wrong way. So yeah, these will go back in. I sprayed everything a little bit, just making sure that they have enough water in the new soil. They already have nutrients. This is soil that I just put in, so there should be enough fertilizer still in the soil, and they would stay in that for a while. I think they need at least another month here. So this will go back in again. There are certain certain containers that when I bring them in the stream, I usually say the same with them. Some of them just don't grow well. Some of them really have problems genetically, and at some point we will sort these out. Yeah, Hilde Winterer, I don't want to waste a lot of space with this, a lot of time with this. Still the same problems, closing up. Not really worried that we might not get one seedling. There's one that is already bigger, that is growing normally, and everything else, the other seedlings, they are in bad shape. You know, they're just not super healthy. Hey, good morning. Welcome to the live stream. Great to have you. Thank you for joining. So yeah, I slept wrong. Every now and then I scream when I do a movement. But it works. But every now and then, every time I move a little bit, something in my back starts hurting like crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy how it is. Once you reach a certain age, you get these kind of things. I never had that earlier. That I went to sleep and everything was great, and then I got up in the morning and nothing was okay. But the older I get, the more I have that now. So yeah, these here are very young seedlings, not really a lot of growth, not seeing any kind of serious intent to grow, to actually live. So we will see how these will develop. It's only 2 seedlings, and that is already bad. Loxanthinopsis, yeah, that explains it. That explains it, because the Loxanthocereus echinopsis hybrids, it's still a little bit more distant genetically. So sometimes when you grow seedlings, they might be weak. I leave them in for now. I can't take them out because they are too small, and I want to give them a chance. Sometimes just because a seedling is delayed, needs longer, it doesn't mean it will never start growing normally. So sometimes it pays off to give them a little bit more time, and I want to do that. Oh. Okay. So in this one, I'm not sure what we will do here. I want to have a look at it first. I consider taking it out of the bag. Consider taking it to normal humidity, room humidity, that it can dry out. I feel like some of the seedlings, they shouldn't lean over the way they do. When I see that, I instantly think of fungus gnats. So yeah, just to get rid of them if they are there, I consider taking it out of the bag. I always try to leave them in the bag for as long as I can. And yeah, I just see what happens. And if I feel like something would have a better prognosis if I take it out of the bag, then I usually do it spontaneously. You always got to keep in mind that the longer you keep it in humidity, the more likely it is that you can get some sort of an issue with an infection. At some point, the seedlings, the ones that maybe do not produce enough chlorophyll, at some point you will lose 1 or 2 here and there, and that can already be enough to spoil the soil in the container. So yeah, I usually end up taking them out of the bag within the first 2 or 3 months. And there are always exceptions. There are always the seedlings that grow so slowly that it makes no sense to take them out, because they wouldn't make it. They wouldn't survive that process of being in the bag one day and then normal humidity, classic, especially if you put them under a lamp, then you have additional light, and the stress, the shock of being taken out of the bag can be too much. The smaller the seedling, the more likely that is. So yeah, here's a seedling that is variegated here, and I really do not think that one has a chance long term. It already looks weird, in my opinion. It already looks a little bit leaning over, already close to the soil. If the seedlings are growing healthily, they already start growing towards the light, and I can see that on this one. So I wouldn't really expect it to stick around long term. Yeah, and for now, I just move a few seedlings here and there where I felt like they have like leaning over, just being positioned in a bad way. Little cactus seedlings, you always have to put a lot of care into making sure they are connected to the soil. That is one of the main sticking points where you can really lose seedlings. If you just let them alone, do nothing, you will have similar kind of success rates as you would have in nature, where you need thousands of seedlings for one large plant. So yeah, if you can help a seedling by repositioning it, by giving it a better connection, then I would always do it. In nature, you would just lose the seedling. Would be gone. Nobody would know. So yeah, overall, these I would love to take them out. I don't like the look of the soil here. Looks very like this is a soil that tends to have issues with fungus gnats, and I kind of am worried that it might be an issue here. So I consider taking it out of the bag too right now, but they're still very small. I'm sure we will definitely lose that variegated seedling. But sometimes at some point you need to start. So I will spray them a little bit now, just carefully. Trying to improve every seedling's position if I can. Like, you don't have to mess around with them if there's no I apologize. I have slept the wrong way, and every time I do a weird movement, I have a little pain here and there. But again, sometimes you need to reposition them so they can recover. If you see them not doing well, it's usually a sign for me to move the seedling, to do something with the seedling. There's usually a reason that a seedling doesn't do well, that doesn't develop fully. So yeah, I will just try to reposition all the seedlings in a way that they can take in a lot of water, enough water through the tiny root that they have. If that root is somewhat blocked, doesn't get access to water, you can really lose seedlings. You can lose them early on because they will dehydrate and they don't have that immense amount of nutrients just from germinating. They have maybe 2 or 3 weeks where you constantly have to give them water, and if that doesn't happen, they are gone within a week. So yeah, I decided I would put them back into the bag for now, but next time this is coming out probably. I want to fertilize them, want to start fertilizing them. And this is reaching a size where fertilizing could really push them forward. By the way, I wanted to discuss something. This morning, I was seeing a post on Reddit, and it was someone that had posted two different plants, asking if they are healthy, because they were like the person who posted the photos of the plant said that they were supposed to be hard grown, and I want to discuss that a little bit. Just hard growing plants, like growing plants the hard way, hardening them up. Yeah, and the guy was just basically asking if both plants were all right, if they were at good health, and due to the fact that they had really tiny pots, they just didn't do so well. Like they didn't look terrible, but you could really see that the small pot that they were in wasn't enough. So yeah, I just wanted to say something because I was replying to that comment this morning, and it's always easy. It's always easier to explain something. So I just wanted to say, hard growing is not kind of not repotting plants. Kind of sometimes when plants are not repotted enough, they start having issues with the skin. They start having a reduced size. They could be 3 times as big if they would be constantly repotted at the right size. So hard growing does not mean letting them stay in 2 small pots and letting them kind of in those pots, never giving them anything bigger. I personally work with smallish pots, with relatively small pots, but there's a limit. And especially if you want the plant actually to do well, if you want that thing to be perfectly healthy. So yeah, there's a kind of misconception that hard-grown plants, that it's the same as neglecting plants, and it isn't. So I just wanted to really say, when people talk about hard-grown plants, very often it means that the plant could be much bigger, could be much spinier if it had just been repotted, if it had been given more water, more nutrients. Of course, you can slow down the growth of a plant by keeping it in a relatively small pot. Like I said, I also work with small pots very often, but not like when you are really growing a columnar cactus as anything else than a grafting stock. Then it really matters that you give them enough root space, that they have enough time to take in the water. And if they are in a tiny pot, they can never take in that water in that time that they have. Like the smallest pot size that I've seen this morning, like the plants they were in, I would say that the water, when you water them, when you fertilize them, that would have been gone within an hour. And that is just not enough time during the really hot summer for plants to take in everything that they need. So yeah, just wanted to add on that. Okay, so let's discuss these. I had to open the lid here. These were grown in food takeaway containers. It is a decent sowing out method. It has worked. It wasn't great. It wasn't that perfect method that was better than the square pots, but it's okay. You can do it. So there are quite a few different cactus seedlings that are in these, and within the next 2 months we will see how they will, what kind of problems we will get, and that will tell us something if this is actually a real alternative to actual pots or not. In my opinion, probably not, because you have to repot them very soon. This will very fast reach the the limits of the pots, like the seedlings that are in there, within a year. This thing will be busy, and then you have to repot them, and then you have to repot really every container. Compared to the ones where they are in the square pot, you could just move them somewhere. You already have the drainage holes. You would have to really drill drainage holes into that thing, and every time, and then you can't really, if there's a situation where you want to put them back into humidity, you have these firm drainage holes. So yeah, I made better experiences with the classic method that we did on the live stream, that we did first, like square pots in a bag. The bag is enough to hold the humidity for maybe 2 or 3 months. And that worked great, because it allows you to, at some point, you can take this out of the bag and you can just start to water it normally without having to be careful about giving too much water. In these, you will instantly have issues where the water is pooling up. So yeah, let's add a little bit of water, but not too much. I just want to move the seedlings here. I apologize, I slept wrong, and every movement hurts. So yeah, but I'm doing my best. When I'm not moving, it's all right. So, but every now and then, when I grab something, when I get something, the pain is hitting me in the bag. Okay, so yeah, here's a seedling that I want to take out. This one doesn't look healthy. It's too small to show. The camera wouldn't probably show it, but I could see that the seedling has an unhealthy coloration, like a discoloration, skin discoloration, and that I could see that the seedling would be gone within the next week or two. So I took it out to prevent that rotting of the seedling. I don't want them to contaminate the whole container. If I see something is wrong, I take them out right away, and that keeps the soil clean. Sometimes when you have to keep them in that thing for a few months, it really makes a difference if you had a few seedlings rotting in there or not. So yeah, for now they still need to stay in the bag. Not really much we can do here. But they're on a good path. Some of the seedlings look healthy. Not all. So at some point we might have to take more out, but for now this is okay. Yeah, and I took off the lid because I suspected fungus gnats. So we have to keep it out. We can't put the lid on it again. Just have to keep it out. And I have to make up for that humidity that it would, when you have it in the container, when you have that lid on the thing, you really save yourselves a lot of work watering. And now I have to do it manually. The moment I take off the lid with this size, this is very young, maybe a month at the most. And this can be hard to compensate at that point because you also can't keep the soil wet for excessively long periods of time, and because of the fungus gnats, you want the soil to dry out every now and then. So yeah, so you have to find the sweet spot that keeps the seedlings alive, but not the fungus gnats. I apologize, I slept wrong. Everyone who suddenly finds the stream and when I scream, it's unfortunately I have something with my back to this morning. Yeah, let's water them. These need water. This is seedlings that I just transplanted into one of these takeaway containers. Yeah, they look okay. This is new soil. This is the sowing soil. So they should have nutrients for now. We only have to make sure that they get enough water. But this looks okay. There's a discoloration, classic stress discoloration, just from the lamp. from being taken out of the bag, but that is okay. A little bit of discoloration is not that big of a deal. I would mostly, I look at the size of the seedlings and whether or not they start getting smaller. When you feel like the seedlings are losing substance, then that's usually a good sign that they're not getting enough nutrients, not getting enough water, among like being the most important thing. Water in this phase is very important, and you are basically, when you have them out of the bag, you are spraying them all the time. So yeah, let me spray this once more. And this one, the lid stays off here. So this will just go back into the greenhouse. Okay. So let's have a look what we have here. Okay, so this is a container where we have transplanted into new soil. This is sowing soil. Yeah, and some of the seedlings start to develop nicely. Not all of them, though. You can see the variegated seedlings here. And a few green ones in between. And I mostly care about those. The others, if they grow, then that's great. If they don't grow, then that's great also. So yeah, opening up, I just see that some of the seedlings are too small. So I would just try to correct the position a little bit if I feel like a seedling isn't really getting a solid connection to the soil. Once you start spraying them, they always move a little. So let's spray them and see what happens. And that allows you to also reposition them a little bit easier, makes everything easier, gives you clean workspace. Okay, yeah, this is good. I like it. And I want to put these back into the bag. For now, the small ones are just too far away from being able to survive being taken out of that bag. And I actually see potential in some of them. Not in all, but in some. So this will go back into the bag for maybe another month, if I have to. We will see. Okay. Oh. Okay. Yeah. One of the usual problem children. The white ones, fully variegated, full albino seedlings here. It's not a good sign. You see that they have barely grown compared to the green seedlings. So yeah, that will probably be the end for some of them. We would have to graft them, and I'm not sure if I want to do that for something that already fails to have genetic health, something that already fails to present a healthy normal growth. So yeah, apart from that, most of the seedlings that are in there will at least make it another week. Here's one that I take out because it's barely a seedling. It barely qualifies as a seedling. Oh, I'm sorry to hear. But great to see you on stream. Welcome to the live stream. Yeah, the smaller they are, the more difficult it gets. I stopped grafting within the first 6 months, I think. 6 months is a good time. It depends on how big they are. If they are already so big that I can take off the tip, graft the tip of the seedling, and if it fails, I still have the base that pops again, then that's great. That's actually the size where I try to graft. I'm sorry, I slept wrong. So yeah, apart from that, in this container, we will have to remove seedlings eventually, very soon. My main hope is that the green ones will survive long term. apart from that, I wouldn't expect any of those white ones to turn into an actual plant later on. Oh. Holy moly. Okay, so let's have a look what this is. These seedlings here had trouble. Took them out of humidity and they were looking poorly. And I consider dumping this thing. I really don't see a lot of potential here. Seedlings are still here. And I will water it. Maybe it looks better when they get a little bit of water. The soil looks rather dry. Even if it's in the bag kind of adds humidity, like a greenhouse effect that you would have. So you don't need excessive water. But if I put in a seedling for being dehydrated, then it's good to have a little bit of extra water. I don't want the dehydrated seedlings to have to look for it. Okay, yeah. Apart from that, not really looking great here. This one I'm taking out. Here's a seedling. I'm not seeing a future for it. Goodbye. So here's a weed that I take out. I apologize. I really need someone to sit on my back to get it back to normal the way it was. So yeah, I will close this up again. Put this in the bag, and it needs to stay in there for another 2 or 3 weeks. That will give the seedlings enough time to recover. If the kind of like they look bad, they present in a bad way, and this can fix it. We will see. If dehydration was the main problem and they just happen to have fungus gnat problems, then this will fix it. If not, this will give it will be too much for them, and we will sort them out. Okay. Let's see what's in this one. Yeah, I want to spray them. I want to water them a little bit. This is Teleflora, and they look great. I love them. One of my favorite containers, and it's currently also one of the containers where I feel like we might have to take it out very soon. Because for one, the seedlings are great. There's a lot of different types of growth. Some monstrous, some maybe crested or normal. So you can really get a diverse group of seedlings here. But they are in the bag for a while now. And at some point I might have to be careful to not lose them, because I left them in there for too long. So for now they stay in, because they are actually growing. Even the small ones that I see in there. Very often you have containers like this where you have healthy growing seedlings and a few poorly developed ones that never really grow. But in this case, they actually do. So this has potential that the smaller seedlings can actually get a little bigger if I keep this in there for another week or two, and then we will take it out. That gives the smallest seedlings a little bit of time where they can still catch up, and if not, I'm ready to take these out of the bag at any time. They have reached the size where I feel like we can save most of them. Right now, it's about getting as many seedlings as possible. I apologize. I just slept wrong. I can only repeat it because every now and then someone joins the stream and doesn't know what's up. Every time I make a weird move, something hurts in my back. So, but I'm still doing it. I love this thing, and it will work. But I might actually scream from time to time. Okay. Yeah. very small seedlings. I had repotted them because they were not doing well in the previous soil. For now, I can't really judge about the progress because you can barely see any. For now, it's just too early. In within the next 2 or 3 weeks, we will be able to say more if these have long term, if they are viable long term as plants, as healthy plants or not. There are quite a lot of seedlings that have potential here. There's one that I see here. That one down there, that is probably gone. Like, it's already milky white in the unhealthiest of ways. So I will take that one out. I really don't think it will survive and will only cause infection if I leave it in. So yeah, apart from that, here's a seedling that looks weak. Not sure, is that even the right upside? Like, sometimes they come up upside down. But yeah, this one has no chance. I take it out. The root wasn't there anymore. Sometimes they come up without the real root. And yeah, in that case, I usually take them out. I don't waste time with seedlings that are not healthy long term. And I have a lot of patience about that kind of stuff. I don't really, if there's a plant that is just taking longer, then I give it the time that it needs. But I'm not wasting time with seedlings that are obviously unhealthy. So I will water this a little. The seedling here on the side, down there, this one, also unhealthy. I don't really think it has a chance. Yeah, I consider taking it out too. But I will give it another week to see. But this is probably a waste of time. And that is how it will often be with these kind of things. You have to waste quite a lot of time to have one of those situations where that one seedling actually turns around and develops in an amazing way. It happens, but it doesn't happen all the time. In most cases, they will just fizzle out. They will just disappear, get smaller and smaller. So yeah, they need to stay in that bag now for another month. I put them under my plant lamp, and yeah, if they can grow, if they have what it takes to survive long term, then they would start getting spinier eventually, growing the first spines, but we're not there yet. What got you into growing and breeding cacti, and at what age did you start? I had, like, when I was in school, someone gifted me a cactus. It was a joke, actually. I was just making a joke, trying to be an edgy teenager. When that girl asked me what I want for Christmas, something like that, and I said a cactus, and I actually got one, and yeah, then I was stuck with it, kind of, and I started liking the hobby. Not in the beginning. It took a long time until I kind of, for one, I wasn't ready in the beginning when I started. You never are ready. Like, when you find that new hobby and you just love it, you want to experiment around. And I had to make a lot of bad experiences in the beginning because I had a lot of problems to heat my own house. So I couldn't really heat the greenhouse with the cacti. So I often tried making it work with just growing the cacti inside the house in winter, and in summer I brought them out. But they were very rarely flowering. Really, like, you could keep them alive like that, but they never really thrived. They never really flowered. So eventually I got me a greenhouse, and that opened all the doors. The greenhouse really made a huge difference for me. And today I know that I might have even started maybe 10 years earlier to breed really more professionally. But at the time, I just didn't have the knowledge that you need. So yeah, I think I at least needed 15 years to just find into the hobby, to have experiences, that to experiment around and find out what works with my own setup. Yeah, and I enjoy growing cacti because they are so hardy. The place that I live, that I um, grew up at, was very cold sometimes. Back then we had actual winter, like minus 25 Celsius were winter temperatures at the time. And yeah, I had to learn how to keep the plants alive. And yeah, cacti, like the ones that I'm specialized in, luckily they take a fair amount of cold. So yeah, today I'm working with little greenhouses that are easy to heat. I have these little electric heaters and digital thermostat, and that works. It's not perfect, but it works. You can do the hobby, and yeah, that it kind of eventually. I'm not the type of person who just does a hobby casually. I usually, if I really like something, I I completely obsess over it. I completely, I have that little. Today I know I was probably autistic in school when I grew up. I didn't know it at the time or when I was younger, but today looking back, it made a lot of sense. So I really obsessed over this kind of cactus thing until eventually I was so good at it that I could make it work here with the bad setup, with the bad winter, and getting a greenhouse, in my opinion, was that big step that really allowed me to work professionally. So I really recommend everyone who has kind of issues, like getting them to flower with when bringing them in the house in winter. That is not easy to do it that way. With a greenhouse, it can be a lot easier. You just put in a little heater, a thermostat, and that heater isn't running all the time. It's just kicking in when the temperature is actually going below whatever you define as a range. And yeah, that has kind of brought everything to a new level. Suddenly my plants were all flowering, and but also because I started learning how to improve the flowering, give them more water. Today I water a lot when the season begins, like early on. I will already start watering in March, like March 15th, or maybe even earlier. I have considered starting to spray the seedlings a little bit in the next days. So yeah, that kind of led to me going the way I took, and it's been a rough. It's been really rough. Some people are smart; they learn fast. I didn't have that. I made every mistake that exists, and yeah, at some point you run out of them. You have made all the mistakes that there are. You know what happens when you put a cactus in a certain setup. You know how to keep them alive. You because you have seen the many ways that where it didn't keep them alive. So you can really. I had to learn a lot. I came a long way, and looking back, I might have been at a higher level, maybe already 10 years before I actually got there. If I had just been smarter, put more effort into actually reading other people's experiences instead of making them myself. There's a lot of wisdom about plants on the internet. There's also a lot of bad information, a lot of stuff that isn't actually true. But some experienced breeders, if I had listened to them earlier, I would have been breeding like 10 years before I actually, like maybe in the mid 2000s, I could have already been breeding the way I did 10 years later. So yeah, but it's a great hobby. It was, for me, it was also about community, about the plant community is a great community. And I made a lot of friends there, and that kind of always leads to like, I appreciate that kind of personal part, that personal component that very often is in these kind of plant groups. A lot of good people in there. Also weird behavior, you know, there's also the bad, but overall I met so many great people through the hobby. Okay, let's have a look what we have here. Yeah, these are in the new soil. This is sowing soil, and these are seedlings that haven't really developed in the old soil, so they have been, so we moved them. Yeah, for now I can't really see a lot of growth. These look pretty bad for their age. Depending on the age, we could already have seedlings this and bigger. If we had repotted them like a month ago, these would already be twice as big. Thank you. I'm always happy to have a chat, always happy to take questions in my streams. I just like when the stream isn't predictable all the time. So yeah, I appreciate that actually. So yeah, we will see. I will put these back into the bag for now. Not really seeing a lot of progress, not seeing the actual growth here. But very often you have to wait for the seedlings that need a little longer. Hilde Winterer hybrid, not really what I consider. Like yesterday, I started potting up Hilde Winterer hybrids. And Hilde Winterer hybrids, they are like Cactus, like these thin, snake-like cacti that are often grown in hanging basket pots. And I've been trying to repot them, and they have such a weird body type. Like every time they are getting a little bit bigger, they start to crawl, they start to hang down. And now I'm trying to pot them up in a hanging basket pot, because everything else with Hilde Winterer, like that body type, I'm just not getting used to it. They need so much space. They need so much space in the greenhouse. So hopefully we can pot them up this summer and attach them to the roof of the greenhouse. Oh, I don't know what's going on with my back, but it's not normal. I might have to actually go to the doctor if this continues to be a problem. Okay. Yeah, these look yellowish. I don't like the color. This is probably malnutrition, because here's a seedling that is that has a normal green color. Could be variegation, because this is Teleflora, but in my opinion, we should start fertilizing them. So let me fix that here. There are one or two seedlings that need a little improvement, not much, just being a little bit repositioned. I always try to fix these things. Every time I see a seedling that is not the way it's supposed to be, then I fix it. It can really make the difference sometimes. Okay. Here's a seedling that I want to take out now. Apart from that, the others look okay, but these need fertilizer. So I will put this aside, closing it up, but I will fertilize this later in the bag. I usually wait until I can take them out of the bag. I don't like to fertilize when I have to open every single bag separately. When I fertilize, I just get me a bigger water sprayer and spray the seedlings one after the other. And when I have to open them every time, that it's just annoying. So I usually wait a little with the fertilizing until I take them out. But at some point you have to start. And these have just been growing slowly. Okay. Yeah, these have been transplanted into new soil. We'll see how they do. I didn't like the yellowish color, but this could be genetically caused, because there are some of the seedlings that have already disappeared because of full variegation. It already gave me a rather unhealthy impression in the beginning. So here's a tiny seedling that I moved to give it contact to the soil, contact with the soil. Here's another one that is not beyond saving. That is beyond saving. I will take that one out. That one looked milky seedlings, and when that happens, it can happen due to various different reasons, but very often it's either heat or genetic unhealthiness. Sometimes they can't produce chlorophyll, and that eventually leads to their demise. Yeah, that's the most common ones. You can also have damping off that leads to something similar. But in most cases, it's either heat damage or genetical problem. So for now, I just want to spray them here a little bit with our fancy new water sprayer. And then I will close this up again. This is new soil, so I just expect some of the seedlings to kind of recover a little now. Some of them don't look so good, but it's not too late. We can still save some of them. Okay. Yeah, I will close this up again. This is Mamacita, also Acacia, Hildewinterer hybrid, something like that. So needs to stay in the bag a little longer now, maybe a month. And yeah, but we'll see if that is realistic. Probably not. I'm sure something will happen that requires me to take it out. Okay, so here these are new seedlings. Flying Dragon Cantora Gelb, or Flying Dragon Cantora 1433 by Reinhard Liske. That's the mother plant here. And yeah, for now they look too small, don't grow. Haven't really grown in a while. This is one of the classic examples for poor genetic health, maybe. It's too early to tell. Sometimes they turn around. But I consider moving them into new soil, because this is already pretty old, hasn't grown in this soil. Maybe a little like a change of environment, maybe new soil can really help here. But they are so small that it's risky. But let's try it out. I think we can do it. So let me just get my gloves here, and then I will get a container, a little bit of soil, and we will move the cactus seedlings from the old soil into the new soil. And I'm not sure if I can move without screaming, but I will try my best. Certain movements just hurt more than others. Oh, okay. So this is great. So I would try to get a little bit of like a little square pot, and I brought soil that I have below the desk here, and I would just fill it up because I can't pick it up right now. Okay. Okay. So let's compress the soil. I really want to have a full pot full of soil. I'm greedy like that. Every time I have a pot where I don't put in enough soil, I regret it later. So in the future, no more regrets. I will fill the pots up completely. It just saves you a lot of work that you have later when after maybe 50 waterings, there's only so much soil left. You will always lose a little bit of soil through the pot, through the drainage holes of the pot, and then it's better to have a little bit more. So I will water that. I want the soil to be somewhat usable, and I water it before I put the seedlings on there, the new ones like that come in there in this new soil, because I don't want any soil to stick to the seedlings. I want the seedlings to stay clean. So for one, they are able to produce chlorophyll. If they are fully covered in mud, they just can't do that very well. They are so tiny that everything can be bad to them. Like everything can be too much. So I try to keep them as clean as possible. So now, so this goes from the first soil that we used on the live stream, and this was cemetery soil, just as a test, and it had too much wood in it, too many pieces, actual pieces of wood. So these seedlings will come out and go into sowing soil now. Okay, so I will try to get the seedlings out of the soil by I'm using this little pencil here to get to dig below the seedling. I want to get the root out with the seedling. I don't want to rip it out, because if the seedling comes out and the root stays in the soil, then that's it for the seedling. Okay, here's the seedling. This is the little ball of soil that's still attached to it, and I just dig a little hole and move that in there. In this case, I don't think there are fungus gnats in the soil, so we can just bring a little bit of soil into the new container. It's always safer to, like, the closer you get to the root, to the little root of the seedlings, the more dangerous it is, and the more likely it is that you lose them. So I usually am happy when I can just leave a little bit of soil attached to it. It also makes it easier to bring it back into the soil, into the new soil. You just have to dig a little hole, and you can put that little ball of soil in there. And again, if you have a contaminated soil, you obviously can't do it like that. Okay, so the seedling that I'm moving now, it looks like probably full variegated, full variegation, so it might not make it. Hey Robert, welcome to the stream. Great to have you. I slept wrong. I slept the wrong way, and every now and then when I make a weird movement, I get that pain in my back. So please excuse if I should scream from time to time. It just happens. It's completely normal. It just happens after a certain age. So yeah, but it's actually gotten a little better. It was much worse this morning. Okay. So check it out. These are the seedlings in the new soil. So now I want to start spraying. Getting my new water sprayer, spraying them a little bit, and then they will start to sink in a little bit more. And yeah, after time they will sink into the new soil. Okay. Flying Dragon crossed with Cantora 1433. That's the mother plant. Not sure what the father is right now. Go away. Okay. So I will put this into a new bag. I just saw fungus gnat. I want to get rid of them. Oh yeah. No. Everything's great. I'm feeling superb today. Okay, so this goes back into the bag, stays in there for another month at least. The little seedlings, these are too small. I'm not seeing that they will be able to be out of the bag within the next 2 or 3 weeks. Probably not. Okay, but this now has new soil and a new bag. Same seedlings, and yeah, maybe in a month they will be big enough that we can take them out. So this goes into the trash. Okay. So I wanted to report that one chili that I have here. Let me show you. Oh, I need to show you all the chili that I have that I brought. Check it out. We have sown these on the live stream. Chili, different chili, and they are looking okay-ish. I just potted them into a bigger pot maybe 2 weeks ago. These here, and it's okay. I have checked, and they have not reached the limit of the pot yet. So they can stay in there for a little longer, but I wanted to show you how they look like. Very happy, very proud. Yeah, they are growing really fast. I was really surprised. And right now they are very hardy. Like the type of, it's not really a sensitive kind of plant. They have a lot of similarities to succulents. You know, the leaves are pretty thick. It's a cool plant. I like them. I really like them. Just got to make sure that they get enough water, because now I would have loved to. You could already put this in a much bigger pot, and I will pot them up sometime soon. But I don't want to. I don't want to push them too hard. I don't want them to grow too fast. Otherwise, I'm running out of space too fast here. But this one needs a new pot. This is one that where I felt like, okay, this would do better in the similar pot size that I've shown earlier. So, and I brought one, and let's take it out first. I would try to just turn it around, and then very often you can take the whole thing out. Let's see. I'm not sure how many roots we will have here. Okay, we might have had a little bit more time, but there are already roots. So let's turn this around here. Then I get a bigger pot. Jesus Christ. I really need to, I don't know, I need to find a way to get my back to normal. This is really rough. Okay, so let's put this back in. Just wanted to have a little bit more soil here. Let's water this a little. It's just too wet. This just too dry. I hate when I'm working with dry soil because that makes everything dusty, and I don't like that. Okay. So yeah, this has maybe a month now. We'll see. I will check it out from time to time. Make sure that there's enough root space for the plant. I'm sure these will start suffering very fast if there isn't enough root space. So we might have to pot them up a few more times. But I want to do it. You know, we started this thing, so we will get them to flowering. We will get them to producing fruit, and that would be great. I'm already looking forward to that. Let me see what this one is. California Reaper. Okay. Yeah. I think these will be very spicy. Okay. I apologize. I'm not so flexible today. Okay, so yeah, repotted those. And now I want to start watering seedlings because I have brought quite a few of them that need water. So I'm getting the top of hydration here. And then I will start watering seedlings. Oh my God. Oh. Okay. So these need water urgently. Very small seedlings. I took these out because of fungus gnat issues. They should have stayed in there for a little longer. Check out the size. They are not big. They don't have that size where you can safely take them out. I consider transplanting them into new soil. But for now, the soil is so dry that we can't do it. So I will water this a few times. Then we'll see if it's maybe safe, if it's safe to move the seedlings. Gotta be careful when you have dry soil. If you rip too hard on a seedling, you will rip off the root and it will be the end for the seedling. So trying to get that soil to make that soil a little bit more usable, and then we will transplant them. Okay, so I will use the sowing soil again, the classic sowing soil. And I'm actually glad that I can get rid of this issue here where they are so deep in the pot. I really don't like that. And in this case, it will be really a good thing to give them a new pot. Jesus Christ. Okay. I apologize for screaming from time to time. It's just, I don't know. I slept wrong. So I can only say it always again. Everything was okay yesterday evening when I went to bed, and this morning nothing's all right. Okay, let's get the soil a little bit wetted up, like a little bit of humidity into the soil, that it is easier to move the seedlings into it. And I don't want to have that kind of like when the soil is dry, you have that, like, it's like when you're working with meal, like with flour. It just sticks to everything, and that makes it hard to actually move the seedlings. Robert, I can't tell you what kind of pain I had this morning just walking through the garden, just with Mika, just behind the dog, and it was already too much. I usually don't have that, but today I do. And today it's so bad. I seriously considered not doing the stream, but I would have these issues either way. So yeah. So I can at least complain about my back pain from time to time. So yeah, I will move the seedlings here. I will try to just carefully place them on top of the soil here. Always getting it out with the root. But even now, I watered a few times, and the soil is still in a bad. It's still so bricked, still so firm, still so compact that it's dangerous to get the seedlings out. So I have to really be careful here. Take time to not accidentally rip off the little root that they have. These are so tiny. I hate it. Okay. A few of the seedlings look great. There's some rather green seedlings in there, but not all of them. Definitely not all of them. And we'll see how they will develop in the new soil. Yeah, and it's definitely possible that I would start filming today for the new season. I might actually start spraying little seedlings or smaller plants in the greenhouses. I usually have my official watering. The start of the season is March 15th, but we have spring here. It's really almost springtime, and some of the plants over, like when they go through the winter and you don't have those deep temperatures that you usually have, you sometimes need to add a little bit more water at a time when you would normally not do it. Thank you. Me too. I'm really looking forward. Like in winter, you have like the plants just look like crap sometimes, and I'm really looking forward that they are doing well again. Just that classic healthy growth that you have in summer. I'm already looking forward to that. And this time I'm really putting a lot of effort into cleaning up, into making sure the plants are healthy. This year we're doing a lot of stuff on the channel, on the live stream. It will be great. I'm looking forward to it. So, okay. And in the last couple of weeks, I walked through the collection and I brought in a lot of good seedlings, really good plants that I, in the future, where I want to keep them indoors, so I have more control over them. So I see what happens with them, and yeah, that has improved the quality of everything that I do. I'm sure we will show a few really good hybrids in the future, really good plants. I'm growing a few different interesting botanical cacti. Just good stuff. We're on a good path. I'm looking forward to it. Not sure how many seasons I will still do, but every season that I do, I will do my best to really make it stick the landing. Okay, there are some seedlings in this thing here where I consider to just not even bring them. Here's one, for example. It's just white. It looks like a dead worm. Here's a seedling that's also completely white. This one isn't so bad, but it's really completely white. Might not be healthy. It's not a good sign. It's not that I just don't like white seedlings, these days you always have to be careful how you say it, but the white seedlings, when they are this white, they just don't they just can't produce chlorophyll, and that is genetically that is a big problem for the life of these seedlings. Oh. Okay, I'm back, and it's a little bit better. Yeah, everything's is a political issue today. Everything's a big thing. But things will get better again, I'm sure. I believe in it. Things will get a little easier again eventually. These times where everything, like, let's call it times of unrest, and times where you have these, like, that are really hard on society, at some point people need to move on from that again too. So eventually things will get better again. I believe in it. So don't give up. But yeah, maybe some of those white seedlings can produce a little bit chlorophyll. I'm happy to give them a chance. I don't really want to sort out anything that could theoretically survive. But very often they just don't make it. They just eventually they shrivel away. You would have to graft them, and we are still not having good grafting stocks here right now. I have some in the greenhouses, but they haven't even been watered yet. And when I graft on actively growing grafting stock, well watered. I usually start watering the grafting stock, and then I graft 2 months later. and that gives you better grafting. That gives you, for one, it increases the success rate, because the grafting stock is better, has better hydration. Like if you get the connection right, there's a higher chance that the grafting stock can really save that little scion that you grafted. And if it's a weak grafting stock that hasn't even been growing, then you would just have a worse outcome very often. Not always, but it makes a big difference if a plant is actively growing or not. If the grafting stock, and right now, if the grafting stock is hibernating, if the grafting stock is in hibernation, then you will not have that big fast growth in the beginning. You will have to wait 2-3 months until everything's normal again. So you increase the time that it takes for that little graft to get through the most dangerous phase in the beginning. If you can, like within the first months of the grafting, it's good when they get through that path when they can just from one day to another shrivel away. The faster you get them through that, the better. Okay, in this one here, I'm potting in the little whitish seedlings, the albino seedlings, but for now, there's nothing we can do, nothing else we can do. The seedlings are all in the soil now. Looks okay. I will put it in the bag, and then we'll see what we do. I was just thinking, because they were out of the container earlier, maybe they can make it. Like size-wise, I had already moved them out of the bag because the soil was so bad. I didn't like the soil. So I already took them out, and they might actually, some of them might actually survive. Not reliably, but it could work. I think they need a little bit longer in the bag, so I will get another one. Okay, so this will go into a bag again, at least within the first 2 weeks after transplanting, to give it to just help a little bit with the adjusting into the new medium. Okay. Oh, come on. I have dirt in that zipper. When you have a little bit of soil that gets in that thing, everything becomes so much more difficult. Okay. Yeah, so next time, maybe in 2 weeks, I hope that they will have recovered enough so I can take them out. For now, a little bit of humidity might not be a bad idea. Okay, so let's get back to top. And then I will water a few more seedlings. Oh. This soil dries out within hours. So and so do most kind of soil types that people have when they have them at a normal room humidity, normal room temperature under a plant lamp. They lose a lot of water very fast. Check it out. We will continue to move a few seedlings here and there. Here's one where I transplanted seedlings into a new container, and they look okay, but they need water. Most of them have that reddish discoloration, that where they just show you that they need, or that they would want a little bit more water. They don't absolutely need it, but they show you that they show you a tendency. So I would just put them all into this thing, and then I start watering them. Okay. All right. So I'm making sure that the water really sinks in, that the seedlings really have time to take in that water. Sometimes you just put in a little bit of water, but it dries so fast it barely gets down. I really try to avoid that. Really try doing the opposite of that. Now that I'm watering, I see fungus gnats, and that is unfortunate. But yeah, they when you have them out of the bag, they usually cannot be that huge problem. They can still claim a seedling here and there, but fungus gnats are mostly an issue in the container, in the bag, when you cannot take away the humidity. Later on, like right now, it's not a problem. They will just, the soil, you have seen how dry the soil was when I just watered it. And they had gotten water yesterday. So you have to sometimes water a few more times. You have to water a little bit more to keep the seedlings healthy. There's definitely some room where you can water without bringing the fungus gnats back into the equation. They need a certain constant humidity that you just don't have when the soil keeps drying out in between. And that is already a huge benefit when the soil dries out. Oh. Okay. In this one, I wanted to show you, there's one or two seedlings that I want to correct that are just leaning a little bit too much, like leaning over a little bit. I like when they have a very solid stand, solid connection, not touching soil anywhere. Here's some wood. Like I said, the first soil that we used had a lot of issues with wood. Too many big pieces of wood. So yeah, apart from that, these are okay. They could already be bigger if I had sprayed them more. But the more often you spray them, the more difficult it gets to avoid the fungus gnats again. So it's really sometimes the difficult part is finding that sweet spot in between. Okay, so here's one that needs water, and these will need to be singled out very soon. I'm not sure today, but very soon. Okay. So this needs water. Yeah, this one too. Watering these three, and then I'm done with the watering here. I might transplant a few more seedlings, maybe in one of the crowded containers. We will see. For now, just want to water them a little bit, and then I'll see what we will do. But yeah, the age of the seedlings that I'm showing here, usually 3 months now. 2 to 3 months, the bigger ones. The smaller ones, something in between that. Oh. Okay. So let's move this aside. Oh. Okay. And I want to move like we're singling out another container full of seedlings because it's too full. Because it's so important. I need to do it. We're doing this one. Yeah, at some point it's just time that they move out, that they get their own home. And if we can maybe make a little bit of space in that container, that would be great. Okay. So okay. So I'm spraying the soil a little bit here. The reason I'm starting to take these apart now is because at some point the space is just gone. At some point the seedlings are pressing against the walls of the container, and that will eventually lead to seedlings disappearing, seedlings being crushed, and then you have a fungal infection that sits itself on top of that, because you have humidity there. You often don't see where that happens, and suddenly you only see an infection and you do not know why. So I would try to fill this pot with all those seedlings here, just to single out a little bit. Okay, so I'm taking these groups of seedlings apart because it's really, they at some point they start bordering each other. They start, like if one seedling falls into one direction, the other can fall into the other, and it just eventually becomes hard to adjust them, that they all have the same kind of contact with the soil. And when you're taking these balls of seedlings apart, that is really dangerous. You really need to be careful that they that you do not rip off that little root. Okay. Water is your friend when you are doing something like that. It just gives you visibility. So by the way, here's already a problem that was not visible. Here's a seedling with a brown discoloration at the base, and this is the type of stuff that usually doesn't go away. This is progressive usually, so we would have lost that seedling in that container here, and you wouldn't even have seen it to the outside, because it's like when you have so many seedlings, you basically have zero visibility when it's about the root system and that kind of stuff. So yeah, important to not have these huge jungles of plants that if one gets sick, all the others follow. Okay, so here I don't always single them out completely, like into single seedlings, but of course that makes it a little easier to pot them up, to give them the connection with the soil. The more seedlings you have in one clump, the more difficult it gets to arrange them in a way that gives them all equal chances. So these need to be taken apart. Here's a big piece of bark that I don't want to have on the root. Okay. And when I'm transplanting seedlings like what I'm doing now, it's a long-term process. You are never really fully done because you keep running into new issues. Sometimes you have to react. Seedlings fall over all the time. Sometimes you have insects that kind of damage a seedling here and there. So you have to constantly clean up, make sure that the soil doesn't spoil. A little bit of water again, because I have realized that there was no visibility anymore. And it also, the softer, the more humidity the soil has, the easier you can carefully get the seedling into the soil without damaging the root. It's really, having wet soil really makes things so much easier. Okay. So there's a little space. I want to take one or a few more, just not many, just a few, that it doesn't look weird to me, that I'm not getting OCD when I look at it, which has happened from time to time. So, okay. It doesn't have to be perfect. You just need them to find their place, and it will eventually happen. It's just at one point you need to start. Within the first 2 weeks, when every time you water, something will change again. That kind of randomness is just normal. Oh. So I will write a label for those, so I keep track of everything. Let me try the blue ones, because the others have been bad last time. So this is, here's another seedling. This is KA 2023 144. No. Okay, KA 23 144. Flying Dragon Cantora hybrid. $46. KA 18. Cisala. Okay. I need new labels. These are not good. Can barely write on them. And at some point, I want to get me new ones very soon. Okay. Yeah, I will leave it like this for now. The others we will single out next time probably. This has removed the pressure. That was the reason why I reported them now. I felt like these are starting to feel really under pressure. Like when the seedlings are constantly growing into all directions, but the pot is kind of the limit. And I wanted to stop that. So yeah, these go under the lamp now. and we will see how they will develop. Correcting a little bit with a few things that I just saw. Here's a seedling that I overlooked, and here's a seedling that I overlooked. But apart from that, I think we're done here. Okay. So yeah, and they go to the lamp. We'll need a couple weeks to recover, but for now, this is okay. All right. I think this was a good stream. I screamed a little from time to time. I'm having serious issues today. But at some point, I'm sure it will get better. So yeah. Oh, I'm starting to get old, I think. It must be the age. At some point, you go to bed and everything hurts when you get up again. So yeah, was great to have a chat again today. Any questions, I'm always happy to take them. If not, I will probably go offline very soon now. Long term, I might actually start filming this week. So we will be outside again with the camera, trying to film the beginning of the new season. I would start spraying a few plants here and there, maybe with the camera, trying to make a way into the greenhouses. I consider already taking out the heaters very soon. And I'm not entirely sure because it could still get very cold. We will still get these relatively cold nights in between now and maybe March or maybe May. Let's say May. You can still get a relatively late frost. I have already lost plants in May. But yeah, I need space, so I might actually take out the heaters of the greenhouses. So I have to have space to water and to film. Okay. Thank you guys for being here. I appreciate it. I will be back tomorrow again. If you have any questions, just write them in the comments and I will get back. And within the next couple of weeks, there will be a lot of stuff on the channel. A lot of new videos. I will do more seedling videos again. We are stepping up. We're getting ready for the new season. So yeah, talk soon, guys. Thank you for having been here today. I greatly appreciated it that you sat here with me in my weakened state with my back pain from time to time. I appreciate it. So yeah, thank you guys. I will be back tomorrow. Thank you.